There she is on the far side of the airfield. A very short takeoff run for a big aircraft. That sound, and of course the wonderful Vulcan howl coming from the 4 Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 202 two-shaft turbojets, 16,500 pounds of static thrust, roughly 5,000 pounds in total. Of course, these days she doesn't carry a lot of the equipment that she used to carry when she was an operational aircraft. Go up into a spiral climb. I should say 2.7 million in a grant from the Heritage Lottery Fund. And I didn't mention them yesterday. I always mention them, and yesterday I didn't, and I got in awful trouble from Sir Peter Love, so sorry Sir Peter. That was very valuable at the time. So here she is, coming back in with her wheels down. Saw the undercarriage retracting there, the 18 wheels, 16 in the main undercarriage, 2 at the front. But I was talking about the money, and the rest of, or much of the rest of that £22 million has just come from you wonderful people. You've given your money in single pounds, in tens of thousands, and everything in between. So Jack Hayward has been wonderful, Eddie Forrester, been big support from the CAA, as well as the 3 technical authority companies, BAE Systems, Marshall Aerospace and Defence Group, and Rolls-Royce. Many other companies have given fantastic help. Airbus, AD Holdings, Beagle Technology, Cranfield Aerospace. There are the bomb doors opening as she goes by. You get a glimpse of the size of that bomb bay there, and you'll be able to see the bomb doors closing as she comes back round in front of us again. That enormous bomb bay, of course, the heart of the bomber, that was what carried the 21 1,000-pound bombs all the way to the Falkland Islands. 10 tons or so. Staggering amount. These were, let's not forget, dumb bombs, wartime type bombs, World War II, and they were not guided in any way, so if you needed to hit a pinpoint target, like a bit of a runway, you had to really do overkill. So of the 21 1,000-pound bombs that they dropped, they hit the runway with 2 of them. Let me just finish those companies to whom we owe so much. Beagle Technology, Cranfield Aerospace, Goodrich, Kearsley Airways, Meggitt, Messier Doughty, and Serco. Now as she comes round this time, you will see the bomb bay doors closing. At the moment, the bomb bay just holds the names of lots of people who've contributed. But as we know, this is her last season, and it is the 3 technical authority companies that will finally bring Vulcan's illustrious flying life to a close. They have together decided to cease their support at the end of the 2015 season. Without the support of the 3 technical authority companies. Under Civil Aviation Authority regulations, Vulcan will be prohibited from flying. She will lose her permit. So it isn't about funding, although of course funding remains difficult. It's still costing £2 million a year to run her. And it's not about the supply of spare parts. It is about the mandatory third-party support. Now, she is still as safe as any aircraft flying today, but she's done 10% more hours than any other Vulcan. So she's into an area of unknown unknowns, and the maintenance of her safety record finished, she's going to become part of an extraordinary team at her home base of Robin Hood Airport, Doncaster, Sheffield, otherwise known as Royal Air Force Finningley. The Vulcan team and the Aviation Skills Partnership are going to create a new life for her as the centrepiece of the Etna project. It'll be an aviation academy and a heritage skills centre. It'll showcase technological achievements. It'll be the next best thing to flying, with things like fast taxiing for 558. It's called Mount Etna. Of course, you knew that was the workshop for the god Vulcan, and the Etna project will be like the Eden project, but for engineers. Now, here's a special treat. As she flies down the runway, you see the red arrows giving her a special salute. And there you have the Empress of the Skies with her Praetorian guards. How absolutely wonderful. She's getting very good at doing formation flypasts. Last week at Yeovilton, she flew with Sea Vixen and 2 Vampires, the V fighters, and that won a prize for the best fixed wing display. They're turning round off to our right, and they'll be coming back for one further flypast before Vulcan breaks away from the formation and comes in to land. And after that, it'll be the wonderful Red Arrows. And by the way, Vulcan would really like to thank the Red Arrows for all their help over making this happen. These kind of things don't happen easily. There's been a lot of negotiation, and it's all worked out wonderfully. So thanks to the Reds. Of course, there is the Vulcan village down at the far end, off to the right, which is pretty close to where Vulcan will be parked when she comes back. Please do go and see them. There are 30 volunteers there who've been working extremely hard for 4 days. Big thanks to them. They're making the money, some of that money, that £38,500 a week that has to be raised to keep XH558 flying. So 30 volunteers there, and a whole lot more in the Vulcan to the Sky Club just next to the village, so don't miss either of those. You can, among other things, buy an extraordinary raffle ticket there for £2 only. First prize is fast taxiing in this aircraft in XH558 with Martin Withers. Second prize is a Spitfire flight in formation with 558. Third prize is a flight with the blades in formation with 558. That's a pretty cracking raffle, I reckon. And there's also a free draw to go and spend the night up at Bawtry on the get your hotel paid, and then to see Vulcan off on one of her trips the next day. You get to go to the briefing with the aircrew, you get to stand with the ground crew around the aircraft with your own headset, so you hear the talk between the crew, the ground crew and the aircrew. And that's all a free draw which you can find at the Vulcan Village or the Vulcan to the Sky Club off in the red zone off to the eastern end, that's the right-hand end of the runway. So, coming back towards us from the right, you can see the twinkling of the lights of the Praetorian Guards. The Empress herself, trailing unburnt fuel. It seems a shame to break up such a perfect formation, but there it is. Vulcan turning away now to fly downwind and complete her landing checks. You see the wheels come down so that she will fly all the way down to the right-hand end of the runway and then start her final turn. And as she comes down on final approach, you will probably be able to see the air brakes, top and bottom, sticking out from the wings. I sometimes get into a discussion with people as to whether Vulcan ought to be a she or an it. Some people think very firmly it, but I'm sure she's a she. She's like a ship. She's immensely graceful and very beautiful. But the man who has the deciding word on that is Taft Stone, the man who I told you was the crew chief and the chief engineer. He says 558's my baby. He says she's high maintenance, she's temperamental, but despite all that, he loves her. And I think we all owe a huge vote of thanks to Taft and the 7 engineers that I mentioned earlier for keeping this magnificent 55-year-old aeroplane still flying for all of us. But perhaps I should just say that as she comes in for her final landing, I quote the great Dr. Seuss, you know, the man who wrote Cat in the Hat and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He wrote, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Or if you can't manage that, at least a little smile through the tears. Vulcan XH558 lands.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Sean, for taking us through that absolutely marvellous description and commemoration. Can't believe it's the last time we'll see this. It's a marvellous time. But coming up, the more excitement, the action continues throughout the next half an hour.